Hey, hello everyone. So, in the recent time, we are seeing everywhere that there is a very huge amount of chip shortage for semiconductor material that we are seeing right now. So, why is this happening, and how is it gonna affect us? So, we are going to have a good understanding of it, and why is this driving to us, and how it really works. So yeah, for give you an example, so I bought a T7 SSD, the 1 TB from Samsung. I bought it on October 2023, I guess. I bought it for around 7,800 rupees, but today I've checked its price. It's for 17,000 rupees. That's more than double. So you can see the prices have significantly risen up. So yeah, so in short, what is a chip or what is that semiconductor piece that's so valuable for us? So it's nothing but a computing device which has a number of transistors. So more the number of transistors, the more computation power you have. So more the computation power you have, the more heavy work you can do. That is significantly important for today's era. So in the next stage, we'll understand the supply chain of how the semiconductor materials or the so-called chips are being manufactured. So yeah, now speaking of the supply chain, the manufacturing of these chips is not limited to one single country because it's a very complicated process. So there are many number of countries and many number of processes that are involved. So majorly it's divided between five phases. So the first phase is designing. So you have companies like Nvidia or Apple design their specific type of chip that is required for them, and this is how uh, like every year the new iPhone comes up. So you have a new design of chips that needed to be manufactured. So before manufacturing, you need to implement those design in the designing phase. This generally happens in the US. Moving to the second phase, that is the lithography phase. So this is the phase where the designs that are being implemented onto the silicon chips. So this is a very interesting way because ASML is the only company that is able to produce the machines that are required to print this architecture onto the silicon molds. So it's a company based out of Netherlands and has almost 100% monopoly in this space. So the third phase is the procurement of materials and chemicals. So you require some amount of chemicals and chemical silicon wafers. They are generally sourced from Japan. So the fourth phase is the fabrication phase. This is where your chips are being sent to these large factories in Taiwan or South Korea that are capable of manufacturing these chips. So the manufacturing of these chips almost takes up to almost 3 to 4 months, and it's a very intense process because you can compare the cleanliness of this factories are compared almost to 10,000 times of a hospital. So you can see the scale at what these people operate. Fifth phase is generally the assembly. This happens in China or Southeast Asia. This is the place where we solder these chips into their respective boards that all of us have been seeing. The entire system is very complicated and very sophisticated because if you want to increase the scale, it generally doesn't happen overnight because you need to require to set up some certain factories, and there is a certain number of things that is required. But generally, to set up a new factory, it takes over like 4 to 5 years, and the cost is also very massive. It takes around like $20 billion, so that's a lot of money to invest. And so the control is the supply is almost limited. So that is the reason we are facing so much of scarcity right now. Let's move on to the COVID shortage or the pandemic shortage that we had. So we faced a similar chip shortage during the early 2020. It all started because of the pandemic or the COVID, because almost started with the automotive industry. So people started to not to buy vehicles, so that triggered these automotive giants like General Motors or Ford not to buy these semiconductor chips because they thought that like keeping these millions of dollars of semiconductor chips just in the factory would not be the right thing to do. They just treated it like tires or uh, glasses or something like that. So that was one of the main problem. And slowly, when COVID stopped, I mean, COVID like people started to move outside. Everyone started to buy new cars. because they wanted not to mingle with people because it was COVID time, and that triggered these companies to skyrocket in terms of demand. So they started to manufacture more number of vehicles, but the supply of these semiconductor chips were limited. So the problem was that, so if you use any vehicle for the electrical component to work, such as AC, or even if you have to start the car, you will require these ICs or the chips that are the most important components. So due to that shortage, there were several cars that were just sitting idle in the warehouses. So you can see how this affects. And a fun fact, normal ICE vehicles almost use like 300 chips in a single car. But as we right now are moving towards these electric vehicles are much more compute heavy. So they almost use almost 3,000 chips in a single vehicle. You can see the scale where we are operating right now, because your electric vehicle is nothing but just like your phones, and it's also a computing machine. So yeah, that's one of the things that we have to take into our concern. One more thing in the COVID era, so the people started to get work from home, and the education also went online. So people started to buy more and more computers, laptops, everything, and even the users in the cloud were much more heavy because Netflix had to scale its servers, even Zoom had to scale its servers. That all triggered into one thing, that is more and more number of servers. So more and more number of servers requires more and more number of chips. So yeah, the demand like suddenly skyrocketed, and there was a chip shortage, and this almost settled in the mid of 2020 23, and everything was back to normal. So yeah, this was one of our past experience with chip shortage. And now in the next stage, let us look on to the why currently is it affecting us so much right now. So yeah, now let us talk about the current shortage that we are facing right now. The current shortage is morely because of boom in the AI space or the generative AI space in general. Because you have heard of GPT's new model that are coming up these days. You have Gemini's new model coming up these days. You have Claude that's coming up with better and better model these days. Due to this, the number of users are also increasing, and the amount of competition power these people require also is also much higher than what was in the past, and all these triggers to having more and more number of servers. So again, you need more and more number of chips. But the problem is that this time, uh, the type of components what they need is extremely complicated and extremely powerful, because we use something called as HBM, high bandwidth memory. This is a type of DRAM that's very powerful, because the designing of these is not like your traditional ramps. These are stacked vertically upon each other, because when you stack them like that, like in layman terms, uh, mm, it's much more efficient. And so these HBM or high bandwidth memory, this is a type of memory that is extremely fast, which is needed by these heavy compute machines that are being used in the service for these companies, like all these AI driven companies. So that is the reason we are facing this shortage. The manufacturing plants have shifted to manufacturing of these more than the traditional chips, and that has created a scarcity in the market. So and another problem is that these HPMs cannot be scaled because the manufacturing of these is very complicated. So you just can't increase the scale, and that is a very problematic right now. And not just AI driven companies, you can see EVs coming up with more advanced technology. All of them require chips, and everything is moving towards tech. So everything requires more number of silicons. So yeah, all these things have made an combined effect in triggering this chip shortage right now in 2025-26, and this may last towards maybe end of 2000 or end or mid of 2027, and after that maybe we might overcome this similar to the COVID time. So to conclude, this chip shortage has not been caused by a country or anything. This is many number of uncertain events that has happened that has triggered this. The only problematic is that the rapid scale was not expected. So the demand is pushed more than what it can be scaled to produce. So that is the only reason that we are facing this right now. So aside this, if you're into geopolitics, you know that China is trying to invade Taiwan just to be like to take control over the TSMC, that is the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, that is one of the largest chip manufacturer in the world. TSMC almost produces 70% of the chips that what we use, and followed by Samsung in South Korea that almost contributes to 8%. So yeah, all these factors, everything just sums up to this chip shortage right now. And yeah, if you want to see more videos like this, and if you want to join this tech community of people who love to know about the news and what's going on right now, please do subscribe and like the videos, and see you guys in my next video.